ask you if you were right about it, right?
Did I?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be starting in 1 minute, so if you could please take your seats. In 1 minute, we'll start the proceedings for tonight. Thank you. Everyone please stand for the procession performed by the Eastside Saxophone Ensemble.
that's not for that, no.
My legs can't handle. They're coming now.
I'd ask everyone to please be seated. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries, and the graduating class of 2019. The Hastings Board of Education would like to acknowledge the land on which we gather, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the peoples directly adjacent, Gunyang Gahaga community of Tandananga. I would now like to call upon student Peyton Krzeszki to perform O Canada. Please stand for O Canada.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. As glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Good evening. My name is Mr. Doyle, and tonight it's my privilege and honor as Master of Ceremonies to conduct tonight's historic celebration and to honor our graduating students from Eastside Secondary School. The ceremony is being live streamed to allow family and friends who are not able to be here. Now, if we do run into any problems with the live stream, we are recording and we'll upload the program later tonight. To our graduating students, your educational journey began many years ago. High school is rapidly coming to closure. However, tonight's celebration also marks a beginning, filled with exciting opportunities, achievements, and adventures yet to be realized. Tonight, you reflect back while moving forward into a world full of opportunities and challenges. You have demonstrated growth, ability, dedication, and have earned the right to call yourselves graduates of Eastside Secondary. I would now like to call upon Joe Brown, Native Counselor, and student Eli Diaz to present the Indigenous opening ceremony.
Sagozo Grego, Karigo Sayungats, Nagigan Elijah, and Osanoda, and I got Daggy Tawano. So it's Elijah Diaz, comes from Tandananga, and I had the pleasure of teaching in the last 4 years.
Sego, Ganjopo, Servaro Seals, Ganigari West, Selvego, Onagadi Gahway, Dietary Reduce Gate, Nahoda, Wasango, and Sungwa Diesel. A Guagons Kanjin did a walk by Noonan and a Watnigur, the Nodetin of Wadada, Umwe Supa. Tony Dock and a Watnigura. A Guagons Kanjin did a walk by Noonan and a Watnigur, the Nodetin of Wadada, the 18 Istoha Geo from Jade, Tony Dock and a Watnigura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they got the Gurunia, the Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they guns of Suma, the Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they older Suma, the Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they old they Suma, the Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all ne Numqua Suma, Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they Johakwa, Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they got his Suma. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they Ojino Suma, the Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they Ojino Ungo and the Agwax, Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they Gondario, Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they Grunda Suma and Ogre Suma, Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they Kayeri Nikawarage, Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they Etisatogo Radioveras, Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they Etisata Asataneka one eight Rajas, Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all the tin of what other they Etisata Asataneka Garakwa, Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all they cheated with the Parada, they Yotisto Corunia, Tony Dog and I got the Gura. Agway guns contained the what when Union and I got the good, and all they cheated with the Parada, they Sungwa Disa. On a Tony Ora, Wagaderi, what when he got Tana, Sungani Gora, easy gonna air, as what the Sundaron, took Nico one again. Now, boy, thank you.
Just a quick translation of how do you do a Dekwan? We do it every day at Mohawk Fast at Eastside. And how do you do a Dekwan is just the fact of giving thanks to all of the natural world. And in our customs, we do it before we do any kind of gathering of any kind, whether it's social or political or ceremonial. So, yeah, we'll go for listening.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next, I'd like to call upon Michael Rush, School Board Trustee, to bring greetings from the Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board.
Good evening, graduates, families, staff, and guests. My name is Michael Rush, and I'm here as your school board trustee, along with my fellow trustee colleague, Mike Grant, who represents the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte. Both Mike and I have been looking forward to this evening and are privileged to be a part of your celebrations. At Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board, we are committed to being leaders in public education. One of the priorities in our board's strategic plan is achieving excellence and equity. This evening is proof that you have achieved excellence. I would like to take this opportunity to thank families, friends, and community to the contributions in supporting these graduates this evening on their educational journey. I would also like to extend sincere thank you to all staff for their hard work and contributions to achievement and well-being. Globally minded graduates see themselves as connected citizens of the world. They apply relevant knowledge and skills to make a difference in local, national, and global contexts. As ESS graduates of 2019, you're moving into a new phase of your life where you'll be able to experience new experiences, and you will be well prepared for them. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board, congratulations to all graduates and students for your accomplishments. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Rush. Next, I'd like to call upon David Joyce to bring greetings from the Office of the MPP.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, families, friends, and all these wonderful graduates here tonight. My name is David Joyce, and I'm the Director of Riding Affairs for MPP Todd Smith. It's my pleasure to bring greetings on behalf of MPP Smith and to reminisce a little bit about the time when I was standing in your shoes, about to graduate from Wyra Secondary School in 1975. I know, it's a while ago. And to address my own peers at the ceremony as their valedictorian. In many ways, I'm sure this night is the same for you, one filled with a tremendous sense of accomplishment, a bright dash of hope for your future, and an air of uncertainty about what lies ahead. I can assure you the best is yet to come. After I graduated from Wyra, I left for Queen's University in Kingston, spent a dozen years working in Toronto, but most importantly, I came back home to my roots here in Belleville to continue my career. In another way, tonight is quite different. You've had to move on from the familiar garnet and silver of Moira or the blue of Quinty and forge a new identity as the Ravens. Your actions set the tone for a new tradition here, and you will always be known as the first graduating class of Eastside Secondary School. That surely comes with great expectations, but everything you learned from your parents, teachers, peers, and yourself the past 4 years will have prepared you well. Now it's time for you to author your own story. Within the past couple of weeks, Canadians from coast to coast got excited about another first as the Toronto Raptors claimed a championship. Their most valuable player, Kawhi Leonard, which we're still working on signing, was once asked about his role in encouraging young children to play basketball. His response, I think, can help us all in any arena of life. He said, and I quote, "I want the kids to know it's not a myth that somebody from their city plays and wins in the NBA. I just want to influence them to work hard and do whatever they want to do in life, whether it's to be a basketball player or a scientist. If they believe in themselves, they can do anything," unquote. You'll hit some of the shots you'll take, and you'll miss some. You'll win and you'll lose. The important thing is to keep playing the game, to keep finding coaches and teammates that support you, and to realize what things in life are your championships. You must have a passion. Your school community has helped you get this far. Now the ball is in your hands. Make good choices, Ravens. The world will be watching, and many of us will be rooting for you. So in closing, on behalf of the Government of Ontario and the new Minister of Education, Steve Lecce, I congratulate each and every one of you on receiving your OSSD and wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joyce. Next, I'd like to call upon Neil Ellis, MP, to bring greetings.
Good evening, students. Don't look so scared. Good evening, students, parents, staff, and administrators of Eastside Secondary School. As Member of Parliament for the Bay of Quinte, it is a pleasure to offer congratulations to each and every student graduating tonight. We all know this moment is an important time for personal reflections for our students. Tonight, we're all glad to have the chance to celebrate your personal achievements thus far, but also to look forward to what you will accomplish next. No matter where you go next, we sincerely hope that you always aim for excellence in all that you do, just like you did at Eastside. Congratulations to the first ever graduating class of Eastside Secondary School. The Bay of Quinte wishes you the very best of the class of 2019. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call upon Lena Andrews, Superintendent from the Hastings School Board, to bring greetings.
Good evening to you all, and good evening, graduates. This is what education is all about, getting you here. You did it. Congratulations. On behalf of the director and the senior team, we wish you all the best in celebrating this evening, celebrating maybe a bit beyond this evening, and we wish you an incredible life ahead. You certainly will have a good foundation on which to build whatever dreams that you want to. Thank you very much and enjoy the evening.
It takes a collaborative effort from staff, students, parents, and the community to build a strong school with a sense of purpose and history. Within this group, there's a person to which we all look to for leadership, fairness, and guidance. Our leader is dedicated and passionate of Eastside Secondary School and its community. He takes a collective interest in the daily lives of our students and staff. It is my pleasure and honor to call upon our leader, our principal, Mr. Ken Mandeville.
I think I owe Mr. Doyle a few bucks there to thank him for that. Yeah, you're the first. You're beautiful. Wow, what an amazingly nice, big graduating class. It's so fantastic to see you. It was worth the wait as you walked out there a little bit later. So congratulations to you. Let's give them a show of support. And indeed it is an honor to be the principal of the first ever graduating class of Eastside. And all of you started at a high school that was differently named or a different building. It may have been at the corner of Farley and Victoria or at 45 College Street West. Regardless of the school building or name, what always counts most, of course, is the people. You, the students of Eastside, welcomed one another, figured out what you needed to do to be successful academically, participated in so many of our extracurriculars, and yeah, I saw you guys at prom. You know how to have fun too. Yeah, you do. Over the course of this year, you've shown me that the future is bright as the torch is being passed to a new generation of leadership born in this century. As almost all of you of this graduating class were born in the 21st century. John F. Kennedy spoke like that at an inauguration more than 50 years ago. He was speaking about the last century. This is also a time where we give thanks. We, the staff of Eastside, thank you, our grads, for your contribution to our school. Respectfully, I suggest that you be thankful too, in your own way. Remember to thank your parents and guardians, grandparents, siblings, relatives, and friends who helped you get here tonight. They dragged you out of bed, nagged you to do your homework, helped you with your homework, not too much help though. They paid for trips, school supplies, clothing, and many other things. Grad is the culmination of at least 14 years of schooling. Your daily work at school has led you to your overall success. Even though there would be many mistakes and failures along the way, remember to thank our staff here and the staff from your elementary schools, all of those 14 years. All of those folks have played a huge role in you being here tonight. One last thing, I would like to leave you with this thought from Christian Cam. In response to those who say, stop dreaming and face reality, I say, keep dreaming and make reality. Class of 2019, in the words of Aerosmith, dream on.
Thank you, Mr. Mandeville, and we'll settle up later. Before we get next into our program of our diplomas and presentations, I would like to thank the City of Belleville, Councillor Garrett Thompson, for coming tonight and representing the City of Belleville. Thank you very much for showing your support.
On behalf of the City of Belleville, the Mayor and fellow councillors, it's a pleasure to be here today to welcome you into a new era in your life. You've spent many years in school, and some of you will go on to spend many more years in school. Some of you will go on to university, some of you will go on to the trades industry. But life is ahead of you. You've been a wonderful people that's graduated and now look into the future. Your parents have been with you, your fellow students have been with you. You've had fun, and you'll have fun in the future. And I encourage you to continue that fun as you progress in life. Always remember, you are never, ever alone. There there is always somebody with you all the way. So I encourage you to be brave, reach for the sky, be happy, and be progressive. Thank you very much for letting me speak.
Next in our program is the presentation of diplomas, awards, bursaries, and scholarships. We do have Mr. Sager who is taking pictures, but we do invite the parents as your child comes across the stage to we'll hold the students at center stage to take a picture. I will call upon our first two readers. They're going to be Ms. Tanya Smith and Christine Harris. Tanya, first.
I'm looking for the first graduate to cross the stage. Well, can I introduce Miss Earl to do the first award?
Sorry, we're just going to begin with one award, and then we will get on to the diplomas, and we're combining the awards and the diplomas at the same time. So the first award of the evening is the Jack Sisson Bursary. It is presented to one female and one male student who are talented athletes and capable students. They have also contributed to school life, related well with fellow students and teachers, and demonstrated honesty, leadership, a sense of fair play, and team spirit. These awards will be presented by Mr. Jack Sisson, and the recipients are Sean McCrae and Sophie Simard.
Julia Adams, who's getting her art certificate and plans on joining the workforce next year. Elliot Hayden, who is an Ontario Scholar, receives his Honours Certificate and plans on going to Carleton University next year for interactive multimedia and design.
And we're going to ask Elliot to stay on the stage for a moment because he is also receiving two other awards. So the first is his IB diploma, which will be presented by Ms. Coburn. And Elliot is also the recipient of the McDougall Insurance and Financial Award, and this will be presented by Mr. Botterill.
Who is getting her Honours Certificate, her Ontario Scholar, and plans on going to Waterloo University for Management Engineering.
recipient of a number of awards. So the first award is the A. Bukama Aspiring Women's Award, which is presented to a graduating female student who is planning to enter a male-dominated field. This award is presented by Superintendent David Andrews. Shruti is also the recipient of the IB diploma, and this will be presented by Ms. Coburn. She is also the recipient of the Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board Award, which will be presented by Trustee Mike Brandt. Shruti is also receiving the International Baccalaureate Diploma Award, which will be presented once again by Ms. Coburn. And Ms. Coburn will also present her with the Lieutenant Governor's Volunteer Award for Students. Three more to go, so hopefully she can hold it all. So Shruti is also receiving the Grade 12 Course Award for IB Mathematics Standard Level, which will be presented by Mr. Matho. She is also the recipient of the Viridian Connections Bursary, which will be presented by Councillor Garnet Thompson from the City of Belleville. And finally, last but not least, she is the recipient of the Wayne C. Vance Musical Arts Scholarship, which will be presented by Mr. Reed.
Haley Lynn Anna Polskin is getting her certificate and heading off to the world of work, going to study massage therapy. Perfect. Amelia Anderson Bartlett is an Ontario scholar and is working for the rest of the year and going to Algonquin next term for social sciences.
Amelia is also the recipient of the Norma Clark Memorial Award. This award will be presented by Ms. Woodley.
Natalie Asselstein, who is heading to Loyalist College for early childhood education in September.
And Natalie is also the recipient of the Above Ground Art Supplies Award, which will be presented by Ms. Duke.
Next up, we have Paige Baker, who is planning on going to Belleville University to earn her PA in psychology.
And Paige is also the recipient of the Student Council Award, which will be presented by Mr. Montgomery.
also gets her Ontario Scholar, her Honours Certificate, and plans on taking advanced biotechnology at Mohawk College next year.
And Sierra is also the recipient of an IB diploma, which will be presented by Ms. Coburn.
Aaron Ball plans on attending Algonquin College for the Medical Radiation Technology program next year. Hannah Barlow plans on going to Loyalist in September for Customs Border Services. Colby Bell plans on returning back to us for another year. Brooke Bentley plans on going to Loyalist College for Police Foundations. Kevin Bergeron is planning on working and taking a year off to find his calling. Dallas Bernhardt also gets a technology certificate and plans to go into college to be very successful in his culinary course.
And Dallas is also the recipient of the Culinary Award, which will be presented by Ms. Simeone. As well as the Grade 12 Course Award for College Hospitality and Tourism, which will also be presented by Ms. Simeone.
Brian Birch plans on going to Algonquin College for HVAC. Matthew Bertrand also gets his Ontario Scholar, his Honours Certificate, and plans on attending university, Queen's University, for engineering.
Matthew is also the recipient of an IB diploma, which will be presented by Ms. Coburn. And he is also the recipient of the Jeremy McCutcheon Memorial Award, which will be presented by Mrs. Solomon.
Next up, we have Max Flight, who next year is planning just to wing it, see what happens.
And Max is also the recipient of the Sandy Parsons Award, which will be presented by Ernie and Linda Parsons.
success for another year. Cameron Gordeau also gets his Ontario Scholar, his Honours Certificate, and plans on going to Western University for software engineering.
Cameron is also the recipient of an IB course certificate, which will be presented by Ms. Coburn. As well, he is the recipient of the Teacher's Memorial Award, which will be presented by Mr. Saunders. And Mr. Saunders will also be presenting him with the Grade 12 Course Award for University Level Computer Science and University College Science. And Ms. Payette.
Excellent. Lucas Brent doesn't know what his future plans are, but he's going to take a year off school to work. Shayna Brandt also gets her Ontario Scholar, her Honour Certificate, her Art Certificate, and plans on going to Sheridan College for Makeup, Media, and Creative Arts.
Shanna is also the recipient of the Eastside Secondary School Visual Arts Award, which will be presented by Ms. Duke. She is also the recipient of the Excellence in Drama Award, which will be presented by Ms. Lindenberg. And she is the recipient of the Grade 12 Course Award for University College Level Visual Arts and College Level English. And these will be presented by Ms. Payette.
Trinity Brandt, who is also getting her Ontario Scholar and her Honours Certificate. She is going to college first, Loyalist College, for Police Foundations, and then venturing into university to study forensic psychology.
Trinity is also the recipient of the Belleville Police Association Award. This award will be presented by Mr. Lambert. She is also receiving a Loyalist College Scholarship, and this will be presented by Jacinta Obasohan from Loyalist College's Board of Governors. Trinity is also the recipient of the Mohawk Band Council Award at the college level, and this will be presented by Councillor Josh Hill of the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte. And last but not least, Trinity is the recipient of the Grade 12 Course Award for university level for families in Canada. And this will be presented by Ms. Neer.
Next up, we have Bishop Brown, who will also get his technology certificate. And plans for next year, he's going to work for Welder.
And Bishop is also the recipient of the Grade 12 Course Award for Workplace Manufacturing and Transportation Transportation Technology, and this award will be presented by Ms. Martin.
Colby Cairns, who is also getting his Ontario Scholar, his Honour Certificate, and plans on going to Waterloo for computer science.
And Colby is also the recipient of an IB diploma, which will be presented by Ms. Coburn. Colby will also be receiving the IB Learner Profile Award, which will also be presented by Ms. Coburn. He is also receiving the Euclid Math Contest Award, which will be presented by Mr. Solomon. And he is the recipient of the Grade 12 Course Award for IB Mathematics Higher Level, IB Chemistry, and University Level Physics. And these will be presented by Ms. Solomon. And I would now like to introduce Mr. Tyler, who will take over some reading responsibilities.
Nicole Chow, who gets her Ontario Scholar, her Honour Certificate, and will be taking architecture at University of Waterloo.
Nicole is also receiving her IB Birth Certificate, presented by Ms. Coburn. Also the Grade 12 Course Award, IB Art, IB Biology, and IB English, presented by Ms. Duke. Also the Eastside Secondary School Visual Arts Award, also presented by Ms. Duke. She will also receive the Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board Award, presented by HBDSB trustee Michael Rush. And finally, the Hugh P. O'Neill Student Art Bursary Quinte Art Council Award, presented by Donna O'Neill and Janet Gerald.
Jenna Card, who plans on coming to Loyalist College for social service worker.
Jenna is also receiving the Guidance Leadership Award, presented by Ms. Ferris.
Jasmine Giacchini, who is also getting her Honour Certificate and plans on going to Loyalist College for Architectural Technology, then switching to Durham College for her final year.
Jasmine is receiving the Standouts Award tonight, presented by Ms. Hearn.
who's also getting Ontario Scholar, her Honour Certificate, and her Arts Certificate. Next year, her plans are Queen's University for the Bachelor of Nursing Science.
David is also receiving the Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board Award, presented by HBEDSB trustee Mike Brandt. Also, the MP
MP Neil Ellis Citizenship Award presented by, yes, MP Neil Ellis. Also, the Meridian Award, Ben Blau's Memorial, presented by Dave Reed. Also, the University College Music Vocal Award, also presented by Dave Reed.
Yago Hendio Claus, who's getting her Ontario Scholar, her Honour Certificate, and plans on going to Queen's University for engineering.
Yago Hendio will also receive the Leslie Claus Memorial Award, presented by Ken Claus.
Matthew Cleary, who also gets his Ontario Scholar, his Honour Certificate, his Business Certificate, and plans on working next year to save some money up for school.
Matthew is also receiving the Welch LLP Award, presented by Mr. Botterill. Also, he will be receiving the Grade 12 Course Award, University English, International Business, Economic, and Competitive Games, also presented by Mr. Botterill.
Alison Cook, who also gets her Ontario Scholar, her Honour Certificate, and plans on going to Queen's University to get her Bachelor of Science.
Allison is receiving the Student Council Award tonight, presented by Leslie Doyle.
Dakota Cooney, who also gets her SHSM sports designation and plans on taking a gap year and then going to Loyalist College for fitness and health promotion.
Dakota is also receiving the Healthy Active Living Award, presented by Mr. Elliott.
Heather Corbett, who is getting her Ontario Scholar, her Honour Certificate, as well as her SHSM sports designation. She plans on going to Algonquin College for pre-health.
Heather is also receiving the Life Touch Canada Award, presented by Mr. Corbett. She is also receiving the Grade 12 Course Award, College Mathematics, Chemistry, and Weight Fit, presented by Ms. Cassidy.
Chrissy Cornfoot, who is also getting her Ontario Scholar and plans on going to Loyalist College for Community and Justice Services. Haley Cornier, who plans on returning to Eastside for another year. who's also getting his art certificate, and he's coming back to ESS for a 5th year. Hannah Daho, who is also getting her Ontario Scholar, her Honours Certificate, and her SHSM Sports Designation. She plans on going to Loyalist College next year to take pre-health and then advance to paramedic.
Hannah will also receive the Canadian Federation of University Women Award, presented by Val Pulteney. She will also receive the Grade 12 Course Award, College Families in Canada, presented by Ms. Payette.
Nicholas DeRush, who is also getting his technology certificate and plans on joining the workforce. Elijah Diaz, who is also getting his technology certificate and plans on attending Loyalist College for carpentry and construction.
Elijah is also receiving the Mohawk Cultural Ambassador Award, presented by Mr. Brown.
Elizabeth Doran, who plans on taking pre-business at George Brown College. Joshua Dowler, who also gets his Ontario Scholar, his technology certificate, and plans on going to Carleton University for physics.
Josh is receiving the Grade 12 Course Award, University College Computer Engineering Award, presented by Mr. Saunders.
Spencer Dallin, who has got his Ontario Scholar, his business certificate, and is returning back for another year. Austin Down, who receives his technology certificate and plans to return to work for pursuing culinary. Logan Dunn, who also gets his technology certificate. He plans to take electrical engineering technician at Loyalist College.
Logan is receiving the OCEA Merit Award tonight, presented by Mr. Parcels.
Caleb Benert, who plans on going to St. Lawrence College for behavior psychology. Madison Foster, who plans on going to Loyalist College for the social service worker program.
Madison is receiving the Grade 12 Course Award for University Photography tonight.
It's coming.
Presented by Ms. Coburn.
Alyssa Fox, who is receiving her Ontario Scholar, BSM sports designation. She plans on going to Loyalist College, pre-health, to make a difference once I figure out my exact path.
Alyssa is receiving the Academy of Sport SHSM Award tonight, presented by Ms. Kenzie. She is also receiving the Grade 12 Course Award, College English and Weight Fit, presented by Ms. Lenny.
Certificate and plans on going to college for welding and fabrication techniques program.
Taylor is receiving the Bell Nortel Retiree Scholarship, presented by Liz Osborne and Joan Hazan. She is also receiving the Air Liquid Manufacturing Award, presented by Mr. Gray. And as I can see, she is receiving the Grade 12 Course Award, College Manufacturing, also presented by Mr. Gray.
Who plans on attending Ottawa University for honors and bachelor's in criminology. Samantha Bunyan. She will be taking the food service worker course at Loyalist College. Riley Gray, who will also be getting her art certificate and plans on taking a gap year, then applying to Community Justice Service Program at Loyalist. Tyson Green. Her plans to enter the world of work for heavy machinery.
Tyson will also be receiving the Mohawk Band Council Award Notable Contribution, presented by Councillor Josh Hill of the Mohawk of the Bay of Quinte.
Cole Gregory, who will also be receiving his honor certificate and plans to come back for a victory lap. Brooklyn Hamilton Linskus, who is getting her Ontario Scholar Certificate, her honor certificate, and plans on going to the University of Ottawa for the arts.
Brooklyn is receiving her IB course certificate, presented by Ms. Coburn. She is also receiving the Rotary Club of Belleville's Community Involvement Service Above Self Award, presented by Andrew Bandler.
Solstice Hannah, who will also be getting her technology certificate and going to work, but not just any job. She got a job at her co-op placement, and she'll be trained to be an animal behaviorist.
Solstice is also receiving an OCEA Merit Award presented by Mr. Parcels.
Jaden Hill, who also gets his SHSM sports designation, and he plans on taking a year off to spend time with family. Sorry, Alexandria Herniak McQuinn, who is also getting her Ontario Scholar, her honors certificate, and plans on going to Queen's University to get a Bachelor of Education, Bachelor of Arts, and wants to become a secondary school teacher.
Alexandria is also receiving her IB course certificate presented by Ms. Coburn. Also the Grade 12 Course Award, IB Business and Peer Tutoring, also presented by Ms. Coburn. And the Belleville Fish and Game Club Award, presented by Mr. Thurtle.
Alexa Hoskin, who is also getting her Ontario Scholar and plans on going to Quinnipiac University Division I Scholarship for Hockey, majoring in psychology.
Alexa is also receiving the Grade 12 Course Award, University Core French, presented by Miss Earl.
Hannah Hughes, who plans on coming to Loyalist College for pre-health and then going on to nursing. Alyssa Johnson, who plans on entering the world of work.
I'd like to invite Ms. Earl back up.
Dylan Kemp, who will also get his Ontario Scholar, his art certificate, and plans on going to university for acting, movie, and television.
Dylan is also the recipient of the Eastside Arts Leadership Award, and this will be presented by Ms. Lindenberg. He is also receiving the Grade 12 Course Award, University College Level Drama and Musical Theatre, which will also be presented by Ms. Lindenberg. And finally, Dylan is receiving the Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board Award, presented by Trustee Michael Rush.
Peter Kim, who is an Ontario Scholar, gets his honors certificate and plans on working but returning to ESS. Matthew Longstaff, who gets his honors certificate, his Langstaff. What did I say? Let's try that again. Matthew Langstaff, who gets his honors certificate. Now I'm messing it all up. Matthew Langstaff, who gets his honors certificate, his technology certificate, and plans on entering the workforce.
And hang on there, Mr. Langstaff. You are also getting the Grade 12 Course Award for Fitness Leadership, which will be presented by Ms. Kenzie.
Shane Lindsay, who gets his technology certificate and plans on entering the workforce.
And Shane will also be receiving the Mike Bossio MP Award for Excellence, which will be presented by Ms. Harris.
Caitlin Loft, who plans on going to Fleming College for esthetician.
And Caitlin is also the recipient of the Grade 12 Course Award for College Level English. This award will be presented by Ms. Woodley.
Caitlin Lorengo, who gets our Ontario Scholar, her honors certificate, and will be heading to Trent University for nursing.
Caitlin is also the recipient of the Becky Middleton Memorial Award, and this award will be presented by Ms. Hutchinson.
Riley Love, who gets his technology certificate, and I'm not sure what the plans are, but I think I'm coming back for grade 13. Hannah Miracle, who also gets her art certificate and is planning on going to Algonquin College for interior decorating. Rory Miracle, who plans on going to college for Police Foundation. And now I'd like to introduce Ms. Harris, who will take over the reading. Ryan Mason, who's also receiving his technology certificate. Ryan says his plans for post-secondary, still gotta figure that out. Emma Maxton. Emma will be going to college next year.
Emma is also the recipient of an IB course certificate, which will be presented by Ms. Coburn.
Karma Mathau is receiving Ontario Scholar, Honours Certificate, and a Business Certificate. Plans for next year include Laurier. Good luck. Jordan McBride. Jordan is also receiving his technology certificate and plans to go to work next year. Jacob McConnell. Jacob plans to go into the world of landscaping next year. Michael McFall. Michael will be, where are you going next year? But still benching more than Peter Kemp. Sierra McGrath. Sierra plans to go to college next year, but a few years from now, taking a couple of years off to get financially and mentally stable, then attending Loyalist College to become a mental health counselor. Emily McGuire. Emily plans to return for a grade 12 year, then to veterinary technology at the University of Guelph. Chase McNulty. Chase plans to go and figure things out for a year or so. Sean McRae. Sean is receiving his honor certificate and technology certificate and plans to go to University of Ottawa to buzz with the boys terrible and better my friendship with Sophie Smart.
And Sean was also the recipient of the Jack Sisson Bursary, which was presented earlier this evening. Avery McWhorter. Avery is an Ontario scholar and next year is planning to take conflict studies and human rights at the University of Ottawa. Avery is also the recipient of an ID course certificate, which will be presented by Ms. Coburn. And Avery will also be receiving the Pretzel Davies Thompson Benton Law Award, which will be presented by Ms. Dalrymple. Kiara Miljour. Kiara is receiving the Ontario Scholar and the Honours Certificate, and she plans to take a gap year next year. Kiara will also be receiving the Social Science Award, which will be presented by Ms. Vastek-Benishek. And she will also be receiving the Grade 12 Course Award, University Level Challenge and Change in Society, also presented by Ms. Vastek-Benishek. Kyla Mitchell. Kyla plans to go to Loyalist College to become a paramedic. Mira Murthy. Mira is an Ontario Scholar and an Honours Certificate recipient. She plans to go to McMaster University for Integrated Biomedical Engineering. Mira is also receiving the Elton Burgess Award, which will be presented by Ms. Babb. She is also the recipient of the Grade 12 Course Award for University Level Advanced Functions, Calculus, Data Management, Biology, and Chemistry, and these will be presented by Mr. Solomon. Mira will also be receiving the Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board Award, which will be presented by Superintendent Leda Andrews. Mira is receiving the Joan Bronskill Award, presented by Ms. Hutchinson. She is also being presented with the Loran Scholars Foundation Semi-Finalist Award, which recognizes students for excellence in character, service, and leadership, also presented by Ms. Hutchinson. And last but not least, she is being presented with the R.W. Phillips Award, presented by Ms. Murdoch.
Austin Morgan. Austin plans to take a year off and attend Loyalist College for health and fitness promotion.
And Austin is also receiving the Student Success Award, which will be presented by Ms. Miller.
Jordan Mumby. Jordan, look at Australia. Plans to backpack around Australia for 6 years. Kathleen Murphy. Kathleen is also receiving her honors certificate, and she plans to go to college for community integration through cooperative education.
Kathleen is also the recipient of the OCEA Merit Award, which will be presented by Mrs. Smith.
Tracy Nguyen. Tracy plans to attend Loyalist College for the esthetician program. Alexandra Nixon. Alexandra is receiving her Ontario Scholar and Honours Certificate, and she plans to go to Queen's University for Life Sciences.
Alexander will also be receiving an IB course certificate, which will be presented by Ms. Coburn.
Dylan is receiving his technology certificate and plans to return to Eastside for another year. Nash Nolan. Nash plans to spend time with family and try not to break any more bones.
Nash is also the recipient of the Student Success Award, which will be presented by Mr. Myers.
Cecilia Norman. Cecilia is receiving the technology certificate, and she plans to go to St. Lawrence for behavioral science. Noah Palmatier. Noah's sister Brianna will accept on his behalf. He is an Ontario Scholar. He's also receiving his honours certificate and plans to go to Algonquin College for Powerline Technician. He is on a positive road to recovery.
Noah is also the recipient of the Tyson Baker Memorial Award, which will be presented by Mr. Grunig.
Amber Parent. Amber is an Ontario scholar, and she plans to go to St. Lawrence College in its social service worker program.
Amber is also the recipient of the Bayfield Homes Award, which will be presented by Ms. Lowry. Ms. Coburn.
Ryan Pierce. Ryan will be attending Loyalist College in the Community Integration Program.
Ryan is also the recipient of the CIP Award, which will be presented by Ms. Stewart.
Chase Pearson. Chase is receiving his SHSM Sports, and he plans to go to Fleming College in Fish and Wildlife Services. Melanie Pedman Brewster. Melanie is also receiving her technology certificate and plans to work in construction or culinary in the future. Colin Fan. Colin is an Ontario scholar and an Honours Certificate recipient. He plans to attend the University of Toronto in the Computer Science program.
Colin will also be receiving his IB diploma, presented by Ms. Coburn.
Christian Phillips. Christian is an Ontario scholar. He's receiving his arts certificate and his technology certificate. He plans to go to Carleton University in film studies.
Christian is also the recipient of the Quinte Broadcasting Corporation Mix 97 Award, which will be presented by Mr. Doyle. As well, he is the recipient of the Grade 12 Course Award of University College Level Film Studies, which will also be presented by Mr. Doyle. And I would like to welcome back Mr. Tyler.
Chastity Plummer. Chastity is an Ontario scholar. She's also receiving her Honours Certificate and plans to attend Dalhousie University pre-veterinary medicine.
Chastity is receiving her IB diploma today, presented by Ms. Coburn. She'll also receive the Eric Runacres bursary, presented by Mr. Vanderbilt. The Hastings and Prince Edward District School Award, presented by Superintendent Lena Andrews. And the Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation District 29 Excellence Award, presented by Ms. Shepherd.
Zygmunt Bralowski is receiving his Ontario Scholar and Honours Certificate. He also plans to go to the University of Trent for computer science. Brooke Reed. Brooke plans to attend St. Lawrence College in the Social Service Worker program. Elijah Reed. Elijah plans to go to Fanshawe College for culinary skills to become a chef. Seth Reed. Seth is receiving his technology certificate and plans to go to the world of work. Taylor Reed. Taylor is receiving her honors certificate and plans to go to Algonquin College for business. Cody Robinson. Cody is an Ontario Scholar and will also receive his honors certificate. He plans to attend the University of Ottawa to study criminology.
Cody is receiving the Mohawk Band Council Award, University level, presented by Councillor Josh Hill of the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte.
Josh Robinson. Josh is receiving his certificate, Specialist High Skills Major Construction. I don't know what Josh plans to do next year.
Josh is receiving, though, the Grade 12 Course Award, Workplace Construction, presented by Mr. Shepard. Maybe.
There he is. Brianna Rocket. Brianna is an Ontario Scholar, plans to attend Carleton University for Communications and Media Studies.
Brianna is receiving her IE diploma tonight, presented by Miss Coburn. She is also receiving the Glacier Communications Incorporated Award, presented by Ms. Burris.
Tala Rohrbach. Tala plans to attend this fine institution, Loyalist College, for the community integration through cooperative education.
Tala is receiving the CIP Award tonight, presented by Ms. Jones.
Jeffrey Rutan is receiving his technology certificate, plans to go to Fleming College to study trade fundamentals. Tyson Rutz. Tyson plans to go to college at the School of Canada for Automotive Business. Kaylee Sager. Kaylee plans on taking HVAC, heating and cooling at Fleming College next year.
Kaylee is also receiving the Mohawk Cultural Ambassador Award, presented by Mr. Joe Brown.
Zoe Saunders. Zoe is receiving the technology certificate. She plans to continue to work at Harvey's and will attend college next year. Michelle Shinzo. Michelle plans to also attend Loyalist College and be in the Personal Support Worker program. Sierra Sherman. Sierra is receiving her Ontario Scholar and Honours Certificate and plans to get a BA in Psychology at Ottawa University.
Sierra is also receiving the Canadian World Studies Award presented by Ms. Bond. And she is also receiving the Grade 12 Course Award, University Data Management, presented by Mr. Solomon.
Eric Silvestri. Eric is receiving his technology certificate. Plans on working this summer and returning to Eastside in the fall. Logan Shoebridge is receiving his technology certificate and plans to study social service work here at Loyalist College.
Logan is receiving the Grade 12 Course Award, University College Communication Technology Award, presented by Mr. Doyle.
Sophie Simard. Sophie is an Ontario Scholar and is receiving her Honours Certificate. She plans to go to the University of Guelph to study commerce.
Earlier this evening, Sophie received the Jack Sissons Bursary Award with her friend Sean.
Grace Smith. Grace plans to take a year off to work and save for college in hopes of travel. Sadie Snell. Sadie is an Ontario Scholar. She's receiving her Honours Certificate. She plans to go to Brock University to major in studies in arts and culture.
Sadie is receiving her IB diploma presented by Ms. Coburn. Ms. Coburn will also be presenting the IB Core Award and the Country Foundation Oino Gallery Arts Scholarship. Sadie will also receive the Kiwanis High School Bursary presented by Mr. Ford. In addition, she will be receiving the L. Josephine Tickle French Award presented by Ms. Patterson. And also presented by Ms. Patterson, the IB Theory of Knowledge, IB History, and IB French Awards.
Hunter Snyder. Hunter plans to go to St. Lawrence College for Police Foundations.
Hunter is receiving the Grade 12 Course Award, College Legal Studies, presented by Mr. Lambert.
Ava Spellmer. stay at Eastside for a 5th year.
Ava is receiving the grade 12 course award for hockey presented by Mr. Crawford.
Chloe Spelmer. Chloe will be taking a year-long vacay in the beautiful tropics of Hawaii.
Chloe is also receiving the grade 12 course award for hockey, also presented by Mr. Crawford.
Tia Spencer. Tia is receiving her technology certificate and will be attending Loyalist College for pre-health. Arisha Subedar is an Ontario Scholar. She's receiving her Honours Certificate and plans to go to study life sciences at Queen's University.
Tonight, Arisha will be receiving her IB course certificate presented by Ms. Coburn.
Graham Swallow. Graham plans to work next year after receiving his diploma.
Tonight, Graham will be receiving the grade 12 course award for workplace English. This will be presented by Ms. Clark.
Abby Taylor. Abby is receiving her Honours Certificate and plans to get her bachelor's degree in behavioral psychology at St. Lawrence in Kingston and party with the girls. Braden Tebworth. Braden is receiving his Honours Certificate, Technology Certificate, and a Specialist High Skills Major Construction. He plans to study HVAC Technician at Algonquin College.
Braden is receiving the Belleville Retiree Scholarship tonight, presented by Liz Osborne and Joan Hazam.
Amanda Tracy. Amanda is going to St. Lawrence College for behavioral psychology. Cole Tracy. Cole is planning to go off into the working world to figure out what comes next.
Tonight, Cole is receiving the Glacier Communications Incorporated Classroom Leadership Award, presented by Ms. Cook.
Thomas Turrell is receiving his technology certificate and plans to return to Eastside for another year. Brandon Vance is receiving his technology certificate and has an apprenticeship for automotive technician.
Tonight, Braden is receiving the grade 12 course award, College Transportation Technology, presented by Mr. Bartlett.
Parker Vaudry. Parker is receiving his technology certificate, plans to go to St. Lawrence College for electrical engineering. Carter Walt. Carter is going to Loyalist to study carpentry technician. Watson. Megan is going to attend Loyalist College for Police Foundations in the fall. Quinton Weed. Quinton is planning to go to college at some point. Madison Whiteman. Madison says it's my dream to save lives by becoming a paramedic. Reese Whitmer. Reese plans to attend Loyalist in the pre-health program and party hard. Taylor Marie Woods. Taylor will be attending Humber College for Police Foundations in the fall. Evan Yetter. Evan is an Ontario Scholar. He's also receiving his technology certificate. He plans to go to St. Lawrence College in the electrical technician program.
Tonight, Evan is receiving the Grade 12 Course Award, College World History and Construction, presented by Mr. Gray.
And last but certainly not least, Emily Zimmerman. Emily is an Ontario Scholar. She's receiving her honors certificate and plans to pursue an education in business accounting in the University of, I'm not sure what that is, sorry. Business accounting.
Emily is receiving her IB course certificate, presented by Ms. Coburn. She is also receiving the Loyalist College Scholarship, presented by Jacinta Obasohan, Loyalist College Board of Governors. She is also receiving the Wilkinson and Company Award, presented by Mr. Botterill.
Great. I'd like to thank all of our readers, presenters, of course, and students for all of your wonderful achievements. We're still not done yet with the awards, and I'm going to ask Ms. Earl to come forward to help us out in that respect. Ms. Earl?
So just a few more awards to present. The next set of awards are called the Raven Awards, and these are presented to graduating students who have made notable contributions to school activities and have added in a positive way to the culture and community at Eastside Secondary School, other than in academics or athletics. So there are a number of recipients for these awards, so if I could ask you to hold your applause, and then we'll give them a big round of applause at the end. So the first recipient, Sruthi Amalan. And these awards will be presented by Mr. Manderville and Mr. Fetterby. So Sruthi Amalan is the first recipient. Matthew Burchard is the second. Colby Cairns. Nicole Cow. Peyton Chernesky. Alyssa Fox. Brooklyn Hamilton Litzkis. Dylan Kemp. Caitlin Lorenko. Sean McCrae, Mira Morthy, Christian Phillips, Chastity Plummer, Taryn Sloan, Sadie Snell, and Cole Tracy. So if we could give all of those students a big round of applause. Congratulations to our Raven Awards recipients. The next awards are the Ontario Principals Council Leadership Awards. These are presented to graduating students for their leadership and involvement in extracurricular activities. These awards will be presented by Mr. Vanderbilt, and we have two recipients, Mira Morthy and Chastity Plummer. Congratulations to Chastity and Mira. The next awards are the Eastside Staff Awards and Staff Trophy. These awards are presented to the top 3 graduating students based on their top 6 grade 12 courses. These awards will be presented by Mr. Vanderbilt, and in 3rd place standing, Sadie Snell. In 2nd place standing, Nicole Cow. And in 1st place standing, Mira Morthy. And finally, the Governor General's Academic Medal. The Governor General's Medal, established in 1873, recognizes students who have achieved the highest academic average. On behalf of Her Excellency, the Right Honourable Julie Payette, Governor General of Canada, we are pleased to present the Academic Medal to Mira Morthy, and it will be presented by Lena Andrews.
Congratulations, everyone. It's now time to pay tribute to a student who exemplifies the quality of a leader, who is an outstanding student in all respects. The valedictorian is chosen by their peers and represents the qualities that ring true the meaning of Raven Pride. This year, we thought it appropriate to choose two recipients. I would now like to call upon Kate Colbert and Shalane Murdoch to introduce this year's valedictorians.
Hello, Slim. Hello, Kate. Good evening. I have been given the honor of introducing one of our two valedictorians this evening, Brooklyn Hamilton Litzkes. I am generally very lucky in my role here at Eastside, as I get to meet incredible students every day and to work with them over the course of several years while they pursue not only their OSSD, but also their International Baccalaureate certificates or diploma. I've had the pleasure of knowing Brooklyn for 4 years, and I've had her in my class 5 times. I also have had the opportunity to coach her in improv. In that time, I've watched Brooklyn grow academically and as a leader, and incidentally, she always provides calm words of wisdom when I lose my keys or my phone. She is the type of leader who looks for what needs to be done and fulfills the role. This year, she took on the reindeer hunt, which she felt was a particularly important tradition to include at Eastside. Although this event proved to be a monster to navigate and plan, she was able to persevere, demonstrating resilience, care, integrity, and the building of community in the process. She's a mentor, an assistant stage manager, the facilitator of the reindeer hunt, the incredible big sister, an actress, an employee, a writer, a voice of reason and integrity, and a globally minded citizen. She always stands firm in supporting what she believes and dedicates herself to understanding the perspectives of others. I've particularly enjoyed watching her grow from a grade 9 student developing her study skills to a confident academic and public speaker. I am thankful for the many discussions we have had in the IB room on world issues, and I am so excited for what lays ahead for her. And I can't wait to see what she will accomplish. I know that one of my pieces of advice that I give all the time as she has honed her skills in English is to be concise. And keeping that in mind, in closing, I am reminded of part of the oath of the Canadian Improv Games, which embodies the culture that this student creates. That we have come together to support one another, to learn from each other, and to commit ourselves to the moment.
It is my utmost pleasure to be introducing one of this year's co-valedictorians for Eastside Secondary's first graduating class, Miss Peyton Chernesky. It has been my privilege to get to know Peyton over her 4 years at high school, both as her chemistry teacher, as well as through her involvement in many school activities. Peyton is a very unique individual. She is humble, caring, passionate, creative, hardworking, and a critical thinker. While she has received many academic awards throughout the years, this pales in comparison to her involvement in other leadership activities in her school and the community. This includes, for instance, helping with grade 9 orientations, and this year she was part of a leadership team welcoming students amalgamating from 2 high schools, when she herself was new to the building. In fact, I do remember Peyton even greeting me in September as I attempted to navigate my way in a new building. I say attempt because I really didn't know where I was going till mid-November. Aside from school leadership, Peyton has participated in many music clubs over the years, displaying her amazing vocal talent, which we saw this evening. And last summer, Peyton was part of the summer company program where she started her own business, creating custom signs, jewelry, and glassware. The more I get to know Peyton, the more I see that she has such a diverse skill set, far beyond what I ever saw in chemistry class. When I think of Peyton, while her academics, starting her own business, and her school involvement are certainly impressive, what stands out the most to me is her willingness and ability to help and advocate for others. In our community, Peyton has been a respite caretaker for children with a developmental disability, including autism spectrum disorder. Her passion for helping others, stemming from this and her own personal experience, has fueled her desire to pursue a post-secondary education in the field of nursing. Without a doubt, she will excel in this field and will change the lives of so many people for the better. It has been an absolute privilege to be even a small part of this journey. Thank you, Peyton.
Please join us in welcoming Brooklyn Hamilton Litskis and
Peyton Chernesky, co-valedictorians for the first ever graduating class of Eastside Secondary School.
Well, we didn't fall, so that's a good start. Remember tonight, for it is the beginning of always. Words attributed to the Middle Ages era Italian poet Dante, which could not be truer for us sitting here right now.
Good evening, all who have come here tonight to celebrate the fantastic achievements of all of us graduates. It is an enormous honor to be sharing the stage with Brooklyn to represent the first graduating class of Eastside Secondary School.
As Peyton said, I am honored to be a part of this. We want to address how proud we are to be a part of this group of people who not only exceeded expectations of this year's experience, but exceeded it with style and with grace. It was not easy, but we did it. And when I say that, I mean we did it. We made it here. We are the graduating class of 2019, and we are about to chart into extremely unfamiliar, frightening, and exciting new territory.
So as we do that, and as we progress through this speech, I want you all to remember tonight and cherish it as we move forward, because this step in all of our lives is immeasurable.
So as some of you may know, well, all of you know now, I'm a writer and an avid lover of literature. Being so, I notice a lot of things that maybe I shouldn't, and I have a tendency to run through an entire analysis of people and things that I encounter within about 30 seconds. So being in this room with all of you, standing here in front of all the graduates, families, friends, supporters, teachers, I'm fascinated by all of the different stories that are compiled into this single room. There are hundreds, some intertwined, some separate, and all unique. And it intrigues me because I have a story, and you have a story about high school and what we've learned from it, and no two stories are going to be the exact same. So there is absolutely no way that Peyton and I can address you all with a speech comprised entirely of generalizations and generic cliches. And that, my friends, is terrifying. But you know what else was terrifying? Leaving Moira Secondary School behind,
leaving Queenie Secondary School behind,
and entering Eastside Secondary School. With that being said, this is an incredible year of changes and firsts. But for us graduates, it was also meant to be a year of lasts. While it was the first day walking through the doors of Eastside, it was also our last first day of high school ever. And while it was the first Christmas sharing auction at Eastside, it was our last. And the first Eastside musical, but our last. And tonight, graduation, our last moments all together. These moments are extra special for us because they're Eastside's first and our last. These are memories, both bittersweet and humorous. For example, during school drama club productions, when the cast basically owns Mr. West's drama room. This year, my friend Sadie and I discovered an enormous number of Legos in his desk, which is to say, while his students are writing massive, painful biology exams, he is building a dream home. Or when I sat in Mr. Lambert's law class and realized that I had already heard half of the class lectures before, just from being in the room next door the last 3 years in English. Or this year, since there are no ceilings in the classrooms in the library, when I got to essentially be in 3 whole classes at the exact same time. Can we say motivated to learn? Extra credit, anyone? Seriously, I learned so much about psychology this year. Thanks, Miss Beebe and Miss Vanderwall. Christmas sharing auctions, Halloween for hunger, assemblies, prom, graduation, all these events that take an enormous amount of planning, which we as a student body have done incredibly well and participated in with passion and with determination. And for all of this, to all the teachers and students, for all of these memories, we would like to say thank you. Thank you to Miss Earle for her wonderful baking and French class and kindness to all students, no matter how bad our accents get. To Mr. Manderville, Miss Scaletta, and Mr. Federley, along with all the office staff, for their endless patience with reindeer hunt and its technical difficulties. To Mr. Matho, Mr. Solomon, Mrs. Solomon, and any math or science teacher who has had to endure the absolute impossibility of teaching my mathematically challenged brain. To Miss Coburn and Miss Vanderwall, the 2 most brilliant, like-minded individuals I have ever met, the greatest supporters and mentors in my pursuit of writing for the last 4 years. And most of all, to the graduating class of 2019. A room full of bright, loud, unique, patient, and determined students whom I am honored to be grouped together with. Thank you for making the first year at Eastside and my last year at high school an amazing chapter in the massive book of life. And so we end with the beginning, a beginning of something fresh and something brand new. And whether that is college, university, apprenticeships, traveling, taking an extra year, we all made it to here, and we'll make it wherever we're going. The ending of any piece of literature often changes as the author writes. It is never what was initially anticipated, but it gets there, and when it does, it is absolutely incredible. So take that step, the last first for all of us at Eastside Secondary School, graduation. The first of many new mistakes, the first of new pathways. Do it for all of us here tonight, do it for yourself. And remember, the best pages of your book have yet to be written. Thank you for being the best first and last year, Ravens. Step forward into the unknown with grace, compassion, humor, endurance, and most of all, determination to make the next chapter always better than the last.
Throughout our years of high school, from whatever prospective school we've come from, it has all led us here to today. We have started new traditions for the school to carry forth as they continue to grow as a student body. That is something to be proud of, Ravens. Whether you were part of a sports team, such as football, rugby, volleyball, soccer, basketball, or you participated in coffee houses, the school play, choir, band, and started or joined new clubs to support your peers, all of these memories that will stay with you for the rest of your lives have been the first step in the long line of what Eastside Secondary School is now and has set an example for what it will become. I would be lying to you if I didn't say this. I never thought at the start of grade 9 that I would graduate as an Eastside Raven. At the time, I saw the world as black and white. For the next 4 years, I had imagined getting on and off the same bus at the same stop and being surrounded by the same staff and students. But if there is one thing I've learned from my time in high school, it is that change is inevitable. However, there are some things that do not change, and for that, I'm forever grateful. For example, You know that beyond a doubt, Miss Murdoch will not only have the best decorated classroom, making sure to specifically plan her chemistry labs around Halloween in order to fulfill her creative visions, but also be the best dressed for any spirit day. Or Miss Hutchinson's way of making 1 hour and 15 minutes feel like a power lecture to prepare you for her extensive biology exams and even life afterwards. Seriously, Hutch, you need to write a book. Or Mr. Tyler's infamous, if there is only one thing you learn in this physics class, please let it be that the earth is flat and not round. Or wait, did I get that wrong? My bad. Anyways, the point is, no matter who you are and what stories and memories you have to share, we all have them. We all have those teachers, staff, and students who we see and stop to say hello to. Today is not our goodbye, it is our I'll see you soon. A famous quote from the wise Dr. Seuss is as follows: "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." The moments leading up to today have made us into who we are, and the memories are to follow will shape us into who we are meant to be. At this time, it would be an honor to commemorate this night in song. For those of you who know me may know that the best way for me to communicate my thoughts is through song. This song not only represents the thoughts expressed in the speech, but also conveys the emotions felt here tonight. It is my hope that through this song, we can all reflect on the past, dwell in our now, and celebrate our future. This is Whenever You Remember by Carrie Underwood.
When you look back on times we had, I hope you smile and know that through the good and through the bad, I was on your side when nobody could hold us down. We claimed the brightest star and we came so far, and know that you won't forget. Whenever you remember times gone by, remember how we held our heads so high, when all this world was there for us, and we believed that we could touch the sky. Whenever you remember, I'll be there. Remember how we reached that dream together. Whenever you remember, when you look back on all we've done, I hope you're proud. When you look back and see how far we've come, it was our time to shine, and nobody could hold us down. They thought they'd see us fall, but we stood so tall, and know that you won't forget. Whenever you remember times gone by, remember how we held our heads so high, when all this world was there for us, and we believed that we could touch
we part, remember this. Being able to survive change will lead to great success. All of us here today have faced significant change, and that is why we are to carry ourselves with confidence as we face the journeys life has in store. Time and time again, life has its way of knocking us down. In whatever form that has been for you, know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Our light is here and now. In a world of darkness, use your light to illuminate it in the best way you know how. With the invaluable skills you've obtained, thanks to all of your supporters with you here tonight. Know that the future is never written in stone, but because of that, we can write any story we want.
Thank you for listening to us tonight, Ravens. And remember, as Elle Woods, an icon and inspiration of law school pursuers, once said, it is with passion, courage of conviction, and strong sense of self that we take our next steps into the world, remembering that first impressions are not always correct. You must always have faith in people. And most importantly, you must always have faith in yourself.
Sincerely yours, the Breakfast Club. Congratulations, class of 2019!
Congratulations, everyone, but there's still one more task before you consider yourselves graduates of Eastside Secondary School. Ms. Smith, I need your help. There's one more task. Can you help us out?
Absolutely. I see some of them already know what to do. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to welcome the graduating class of 2019. Graduates, this is where your journey comes from. Eastside Secondary School students to graduates with the tassel toss. From right to left. Congratulations. If you toss your hat, please make sure you get it back again. On the count of three, do a toss. Give 1, 2, 3.
As we come to the end of the ceremonies, folks, we just have a few little house items here. Thank you, Ms. Smith. As we now come to the closing of the ceremonies, I would ask that during the recessional, that all the parents and family members stand in front of your seats. Don't block the aisleways as your child comes by. Refreshments will be in the cafeteria, and I'd like to personally thank the Loyalist staff, our live streaming production team, Christopher and Jonathan Doyle, Jeanette Wong, Kate Roberts, Matt Sager for taking pictures, and all of the staff and members who helped to make this night a memorable success. Before I turn over to Mr. Reed and his ensemble, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries and staff, I present to you the graduating class of 2019. Thank you very much.
Proud of your son? Graduate.